Purpose Code app, I've had a couple of messages, well, a handful of messages from new users and new members who have struggled to log in, sign up, get their magic code, etc. And I just want to say thank you for being patient, everyone. It is me that is working with Claude AI to develop the app. So here we are. Now, one of the things that has changed, I don't know if everyone can see this, is that now when you go to log in, it's probably not very clear, you will actually get a really nice email that shows you the magic code link and a little button to click in. It's a lot clearer, a lot simpler. So I have gone ahead and updated the login process. So apologies to everyone that either gave up because it was failing and glitchy, and thank you to everyone who was patient and working on it. The other thing that I want to talk about is that I do work on the app every single morning, and I'm just going to share what is happening with the app now. Oh, I'm using Substack on my computer. I always used it on my phone before, so this is like the second time. And I'm trying to get it to do something. Oh my God,
Ooh.
it's sharing the entire screen. I only want it to share. Damn. Okay, let's stop sharing that and let's share a window. Share this window. Right, what is everyone seeing? That's the window I wanted to share. Okay, so if you've not seen the purpose code before, this is what it looks like. You will get, you go to the link, it's in the website, thepurposecode.app. You'll be asked to log in. You'll log in. You will be sent a code. And I've just received the code on my phone. So I'm going to put the number in here. 3258. Sometimes I like to see the number because I'm like, is there some new numerology going on in the number as well? Because the numbers are generated randomly. And it takes you straight to the Today tab. So the first thing you see is your current astrology. Now, in the past, I was a little bit astrology averse. I realize now that the Today tab is the tab that most people are using. Most people want to know what's happening in their life. And we've got a waxing crescent moon in Leo. Listen, if you're interested in moon phases, that's great. If not, that is there anyway. But today's guidance is go back to your creative project. Small acts of devotion, not big announcements. And that is for the collective. If you want to know how this affects you personally, there's a little button that says to you, go to Ask Shereel, see how it lands in your chart. And then there's a practice. Here's the thing about the practice. We are all on a journey, on a path to living our purpose. We all want to have a life that is filled with meaning, that is fulfilling, that makes sense. And so if you do a little daily practice every single day, you will start to find that you are living a more rewarding, fulfilling life. Today's practice for this account, this is not my full account. So this is what you get as a free user, by the way. You get to put all your birth details in, you'll still get a practice. And it is literally return to the intention you set at the dark moon, which is the new moon yesterday. Take one visible step towards it, send the message, etc. Small and faithful beats big and imaginary, which is great. Mark today's practice complete. There'll be a practice tomorrow. And then there's a little bar that opens up. Turn on reminders. I implore everybody, use the reminders. You might have to go and do some stuff in your settings and notifications, and that could be, a little time consuming, but it's worth it in the long run because you will get a push notification every morning that helps you to remember to open the app and go and do what it's asking. If you're a free member, you won't necessarily get the full personal reading. You will have to upgrade to get that, but you still have access to, your purpose archetype in the app, and you'll get some information there. You'll get something about love and how you are in relationships, and you can still play about with your location. And apparently, I would thrive in Reykjavik or Antarctica or Mumbai. I think of the three, it would be Mumbai. But my career will catch fire in Reykjavik. My career might not be able to catch fire. I don't know how that's going to work. And of course, you go to Ask Shereel and you will have a quota of 3 free questions. You can see here, 3 of 3 free this month. So I just wanted to do a little walkthrough to show people it is quite dense. There's a lot going on in the app, but it is quite easy to navigate. And the easiest thing is ask Shereel how this lands in your chart today. And if you want to speak to the app, you can now do that because not everyone wants to type all the time. You can speak your question, hit Ask Shereel, and it's going to tell you what today's energy is doing in your chart. And sometimes we need a little bit of guidance. Well, all the time we need a bit of guidance. And yeah, the sky is in conversation with my North Node, of course, soul's direction. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope that everyone finds that useful. So, Monet, now that we've got the little purpose code walkthrough done, yeah, I wanted to talk about Skip Step. So we did the challenge in June, end of May, June. We did the challenge. It was a 5-day challenge, decode your offer. The very first thing, which was the preparation, was about your skip step. Since then, the conversation has snowballed. It has expanded. It has grown. Lots of people are pretty enamored with the understanding of what their skip step is. And your skip step is an astrological phenomena. I did a full video on the astrology between the 30th of June and the 26th of July. It is on my Substack, Beyond the Veil. You can watch it. It's free for everyone. There's a little timeline, did an infographic, like I went all out. But effectively, a skip step is that part in your astrology chart that you rush past to get to what feels like your destiny or your purpose. So we're all here working towards something based on your astrology. And sometimes we want to overlook the actual work that ensures we not only get on path with what we're here to do, with what gives our life meaning, but we kind of are in a bit of a rush sometimes, like we're in a hurry to do that. And so think of it like this. Think of it as like, I don't know, baking a cake. You're in such a rush to bake a cake that you put the flour, the eggs, the sugar in, and oh no, that's all the ingredients. What do you use to bake a cake, Monet? I'm not a baker.
Baking powder, which is important.
Right, you forget the baking powder. You
vanilla
think you've
essence.
done everything. The cake comes out flat of a pancake, no real flavour of vanilla or the rest of it, because you were in such a rush to bake the cake that you forgot the baking powder and you forgot the vanilla essence, right? You got a cake, it's not great. Guess what? Got to go back and bake the cake again. So your skip step, it's not something that you're completely unaware of. It's just something that you didn't recognize as being the thing that makes you successful. And when you add success, achievement, ability to advance to your purpose, if you knew that there was just a little key or there was one more lock to unlock, that would guarantee you were successful, you would be able to align with your purpose and live how you want to live. Would you not just want to know what that skip step was? I think so. And by the response that I've had, I think most people are kind of flabbergasted, a little bit in awe, but mostly delighted once they figure out what their skip step is. So that's your skip step. It's the thing that you skip over in haste to get to your purpose. And then the cake's flat, no real flavor, because you missed out the key thing that will make your cake rise and taste delicious.
But
We don't want
so if I
pancake
can
cakes.
just jump in. So I think you could then say, oh, I'm not a good baker, right? So you think it's
Yes.
part of you. Like, oh, I can't bake cakes. That's why I go buy them at Woolworths or whatever. And so I keep
That's a good
buying
one.
cakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would
Instead of
just say, I'm just not a good baker, right? Instead of figuring out what makes it hard or why your cakes are not rising.
yeah, because it's just
Yeah.
easier to say I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
Well, this is my thing, or not my thing.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. So I think the skip step is that small little like cog in your machine. It's the extra little lock that needs opening. It's really about understanding and awareness, because once you're aware of your skip step, you most definitely will constantly reflect on it when you're in, situations where you're looking at growing or moving forward or getting something done. It will come up over and over again. So it's just about knowing what it is. So what's your skip step, Monet? I
Mine?
think we've talked about this before, but let's talk about it again.
Yeah. So I always, what's it say? I reach for the clean frame before I've sat with the messiness. So I always want the perfect thing. So I tend to skip over, like really sitting with a mess. So I need it to be perfect. So I do something and then I go, this isn't perfect. I start again. And then I go, still not perfect. I start again. It's like I don't sit in the mess and figure out what exactly is going on here. What am I missing? Is messy okay? Maybe it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think the minute that landed for me, like I think in our call, I was telling you I'd been circling around my offer for 18 months. And in the first, just the preparation of the offer, I landed my offer because I stopped circling, because I realized, take this messy thing and don't run to Woolworths. Just sit with it and figure it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And I can guarantee you it most probably still isn't perfect, but it's version 1.0.
Yeah. I think the reason that this has caught people's imagination so much is because it feels very easy to share with other people. It's a bit of a conversation starter, like, do you know what your skip step is? Do you know why you always find yourself in the same position? So it shows up a lot in relationships. I speak to people who, date the same person, different name, different face, have the same results in relationships. And it's like, why do I do that? Well, you've probably got a skip step where when you start dating or start getting to know people, you skip over that really crucial but small thing that is the thing that allows you to differentiate between this is a good partner for me or this is not a good partner for me. It happens in work a lot, where you'll see people leaving their job over and over again for more or less the same reason, different company, same scenario. And that will be because they are unaware of their skip step and they're like, well, that's just how I am. Right. Whereas if you can figure out, especially in relationships, I do this thing in my haste to be in a relationship, when I'm dating, I never, let's see, for example, I never take the time to, what would be a good example? I never take the time to ask them about their hopes and dreams and ambitions, right? Communication could be a skip step. Maybe all I do is like go on dates, have a nice time, talk about the good stuff, but I don't have that deeper communication where I want to find out, are we even aligned on the future? Are we moving in the same direction? So I skip out the deep communication and just get into a relationship. And then the relationship ends at the same point because I find out that we're going in two different directions because I didn't ask the hard questions. So that skip step would be something around communication. In the sky at the moment, we have the north and south node of the moon at 0 degrees of Virgo and Pisces, and they're squaring Uranus. Uranus is the planet of disruption, electricity, separation, lightning, chaos, all of these things. And it's in the sign of Gemini. So for many of us as a collective, this is not a personal thing. We are in a rush to go from being in this state of perfectionism and working with systems and noticing how systems are falling apart in the world. We're all in a rush to get into our spirituality, to get into our healing, which is Pisces. And instead of doing the work, going step by step, we're trying to go from, I hate my life, I hate my job, I'm just going to be a spiritual entrepreneur, instead of going through that point where Uranus is in Gemini, which would be, let me figure out what my wounding is. Let me figure out why I feel burnt out. Let me figure out why I'm, in a haste to leave my job and become a spiritual entrepreneur. Let me figure out what is being triggered or activated right now. So lots of people at the moment and in this time frame, and maybe over the past 3 months or so, will have felt the pull to be more spiritual, heal something, try and work for themselves and leave their job, when probably what they really needed to do was get into some kind of therapy, start focusing on where they've got wounds and trauma that is being reactivated, and maybe focus on figuring out why they want to leave a job before making that leap into entrepreneurship, which is like I don't know, is it Game of Thrones? What's that movie where it's like really intense? It's with Jennifer Lawrence. It's not Game of Thrones, it's the other one. But anyway.
Yeah, the Hunter thing.
Yeah, the Hunger Games. Being an
Hunger
entrepreneur is like the Hunger Games, right? Like it's not a joke. It's not for it's not for everyone. I'm not even joking. I'm not even gonna like pretend that everyone could be an entrepreneur. You can't. It's the Hunger Games for humanity, is being an entrepreneur. So not everybody should leave their job and become an entrepreneur. Not everybody should, leave their normal day-to-day life and go on a pilgrimage and go and live in a monastery for a year. It's not for everyone. But some people are making those big leaps without working through the small details. And as a collective, we have this skip step of Uranus in Gemini, which is sort out your traumas, sort out your thoughts and emotions, like figure out, do you really have ADHD, or are you just dysregulated, right? Are you just scrolling too much? Like, what's really going on? And if we can sometimes pause and make that extra step, we might find that instead of rushing into spirituality, entrepreneurship, etc., we might go back and just have a different kind of job, right? So the skip step showing up collectively is really about how we can disrupt our own minds, our own traumas, anxieties, and fears.
Yeah, and how we feel about it, because you could feel inadequate, or you could feel I don't know, like you're no good at anything or everything, or this thing or that thing. And instead of going, well, that thing is actually your path, and you're getting the roadblock, and you're going, and you're sort of chucking out the baby and the bathwater, instead of going, okay, let's sit with this, because actually that's most probably the thing, isn't it? Is the thing that you need to move through is most probably the path, instead of going, let's go different path.
Yeah. It do you know what? It's very typical of life that human beings avoid pain, right? We avoid discomfort. We don't like a challenge. We don't want to be faced with difficulties and problems. We're always looking for some comfort, but we never grow in a comfort zone, right? So it's the idea that maybe we do lean into the pain, whether that is the mess, whether that is examining our thoughts, whether that is dealing with the chaos in our lives, whether that is facing the thing that we've been avoiding for years. Like, I do certain practices. I'm going to give you an example of one that I think is really, really clever. So, growing up, I had a stepfather person who abused me, just going to say it. And he worked in the coal mines in Nottingham. And when I first came back, I had my little Dachshund Shih Tzu cross of a dog. And I found out that they had turned those coal mines, that whole area, into a huge country park. And it is amazing. And I set myself a challenge. I said, I'm going to go to that country park every day and walk my dog. And every time I walk through that country park, I'm going to be walking on what that man did to me. That trauma will never go away, but I now have power over it. And that's where I walk my dog. And we go for long walks, and it is vast and huge and beautiful. And we go in all weathers. And every time I go to that country park, I feel empowered. I have just taken my power back and taken control of a situation that I had no control over as a child, but also didn't feel as if I got justice for. Now, that might be something that isn't available to everybody, but if you just think of the idea that the fear, the frustration, the pain of a trauma prevents you from moving forward in an area in your life, what would happen if you not only leaned into it, but you took control of it? You took your power back over that situation. What would then be available to you? I would have avoided that country park like the plague because of the association. That is one of the best country parks I've seen. Like, Nottingham's a beautiful town anyway, but I used to take my dog to the country park in Essex every day. There was one right at the bottom of the estate that I lived in. And it's like, why are we missing out on this amazing experience? There were like lakes and, hills, and we hike, and it's just beautiful. And it's like, you don't get to steal that from me. And I'm going to neutralize that trauma. So if you think about the ways in which you can lean into the pain, the challenge, the difficulty, the discomfort, you then start to be empowered and take back what may have been stolen or taken from you.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a Thursday morning, right? But it's just what came to mind. And it's true, because that's what I do. So if we think about what it is that keeps us from our skip step, right? Because the natural next question in my mind is, well, why doesn't everyone just know their skip step? well, there's probably a lot of noise going on, as well as thinking that's just how I am, or blaming yourself for the things that happen in your life. And if you think about the noise of life every day, especially if you think about something like work, you wake up, there's notifications going off on your phone, you've got to get the kids up, or you've got to get yourself ready, get out the door, go to work, blah, blah, blah. All of that noise can drown out any kind of signal of awareness that is being sent to you. So you're often distracted by, I don't know, some kind of just day-to-day life that actually isn't serving you, rather than being able to tune in to the signals that are really helping you to figure out what you need to do and where you need to go and what is maybe holding you back. So if we think about being in a work environment, just that day to day of getting emails, being asked by your boss or a colleague, get this done, do this, do that. Like, it is really overwhelming and prevents you from doing what's most important. And I don't know what people think of Elon Musk. Like, this is not personal, but one of the things he talks about is signal versus noise. And we cannot dispute the fact that he's created some amazing companies and he's solved some big problems. And he will literally sit there and just say, listen, I have these things that have to be done today. Like, I've got 3 things that I have to achieve, and anything else that is not those things is just noise. So they will be his 3 signals, and he follows those every day. We all get distracted, like doom scrolling, going shopping, doing things that we don't really need to do. Signal versus noise can prevent you from recognizing and understanding your skip step. And it shows up a lot in things like work and just day-to-day life.
Yeah. So when you were talking, I was scrolling and looking because Ask Cheryl and I had this conversation yesterday where it comes up a lot. And actually she said, do you need to go to therapy or something? And then we unpacked it. And I had a boss who used to tell me that I chase the shiny things. And just knowing that what my skip step is, I can turn that into knowing I don't chase the shiny things. I was looking for the perfection. And it means that somebody else can completely misread you. And so when Ask Cheryl and I kept talking, she was like, okay, so it's not about needing therapy or to getting over that thing that you feel is a block. It's about, what do you do with that? So it was like, how do we move past that? So I think therapy is important. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. But sometimes just knowing that's my skip step, that's how I respond, that's what it looks like to people on the outside. And so how do I deal with that? And whether it's therapy, journaling, meditation, or whatever it is. But I think it's that dealing with a discomfort and knowing what it is was really a revelation for me. It was that big aha moment we talk about. So yeah. I hear what you're saying. It's like, yeah, it's sometimes just dealing with it, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think also, apart from the human desire to avoid pain is what moves us, right? Sometimes we've got to intentionally not seek pain, but lean into the pains that we're trying to avoid and dodge. But I also think that a lot of the opportunities that come to us kind of come quietly, right? They don't come with this big bang clash. Look, here I am. Like, that is always confusion and chaos. The things that pull us forward gently, but intentionally, tend to be those little, it's like a little slight tap on the shoulder, a little whisper, that tiny thought that's so easy to dismiss, right? And the reason that we keep missing these answers or these opportunities is because we live in a world of so much noise. And a lot of people are talking about this, like Arthur Brooks, for example, talks about in his book, what is it, The Meaning of Your Life, which is his book on purpose. He talks about, we live in a world of anxiety because there is just so much noise, like social media, constant notifications, emails, phone calls, this, that, or whatever. And it gets harder and harder to be mindful. It gets harder and harder to be quiet and be still and just have those, moments of allowing whatever needs to come through to come through. And having a bit of a mindfulness practice is essential, I think, in this day and age. And whether you do it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, or throughout the day, whenever you can, being in those quiet, still moments allows you to not just reflect, but really refocus on what those patterns are, what those things are that keep coming up. But it's like you have to train yourself. It's training. It is a practice because you have to practice it. You have to cultivate mindfulness. You have to cultivate your awareness to be constantly revealing to you what it is that you do not know, right? So your skip step is one of those things, but I also think if we think about the work that you're doing, Monet, where you talk about how people can advance in their career rather than leave and become an entrepreneur where it might not be the right thing for them, you should definitely check in the purpose code, because under purpose it talks about employed, building a business, or helping others. But you should definitely figure out, are you missing your signals? Are you missing your indicators? And are you just paying attention to all the noise, right? But how do people know the difference between a signal and noise when
it feels
actually, when it feels good, but we're actually being trained by a lot of these social media apps to pay attention to noise, right? Like we know there are whole things around that.
Yeah. What I mean is when the noise feels good, because you used an example in our conversation, like when your upline says to you, oh, you're doing such a good job. And then you go, yay, but that's noise. And what's the signal that you're doing the good job? And we said it's the person above that going, who's responsible for this project again? I want to speak to, I want that person on the next project. So sometimes the noise feels good.
That's a really good point.
We miss the signal. Yeah. Because it should feel bad, right? But it doesn't. It feels good.
It's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about something like doom scrolling, why do we doom scroll? We're trying to regulate our nervous system. It feels calming. It might be entertaining. It's a little bit fun. It's a distraction. We don't have to work. We're just like, it's easy. It feels very easy, but it feels good in the moment until you look up and hours gone by, your deadline's looming, you didn't walk the dog, you haven't done this, you've not got the dinner on, whatever it is, you forgot to go to the shops. And it's like, oh, whereas if you are following the signal often feels like work, feels uncomfortable, and we usually are trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
That is such a good way of describing it, actually. And it's the same with your skip step. The reason it's your skip step is because it feels better to skip it than deal with it, right?
Yeah.
The signal is not the thing that feels good, but it is the truest thing and the thing that will make a difference.
Because the signal is work, and the signal is paying attention, and the signal is showing up.
Paying attention, showing up, being mindful, being present, not going with the noise, which is easy and feels good. So if we're going to look at something like advancement signals and skip steps, and people are, because I imagine that some people that watch this video later on are going to have come home from work, be really tired. They're going to maybe look at the title and, hi, Lauren, look at the title and just think to themselves, like, I don't know, what is my skip step? signal versus noise. What does that mean? Like, the title might be a little bit cryptic, but if you've just had another tough day at work and you're not sure why, you're probably consumed with noise and missing the signals. And the signal, in terms of advancement, might actually be related to your skip step. So it might be that you avoid the difficult conversations, right? And it's those difficult conversations that help you to advance. It might be that here's one that I think happens quite a lot to people, is that they miss their exit window. So whether it's exiting the role, exiting the company, exiting the project, exiting the department, or whatever, they miss that because they are paying attention to the noise, like, oh, you're doing great, or maybe you like the people you work with, or maybe you're just in the routine and the habit, and it's like your skip step is, I don't want to have to get to know people again. I don't want to have to learn something new. I don't want to have to start again, which is a real skip step that people avoid that, and they like the comfort of continuity. But it's like, if you are focused on the noise, you're missing those signals of somebody maybe leaving a department and there's a position available, and maybe you needed to have a conversation with somebody and that would have been an advancement for you. But instead, you want to stay with your mates, hang out, and do stuff that may or may not be helping you to advance.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Monet? Is that a typical scenario? Yeah, because it's like,
absolutely.
I'm talking about things that people tell me when I meet with them, but I don't know from your point of view what you think.
Well, I think it is, like you say, it's if I look at the I've got the 5 advancement signals, and most of them mean you need to show up, or you need to have the conversation, or you need to check something about yourself. And we would rather just go with the flow, right? Because it's easier than me actually having to interrogate about, like, well, how do I speak about this, or how do I show up, or who's actually noticing what I do, or like, do I actually know where I'm going? And for, like you say, you come home after a long day and you're exhausted. You don't want to think about this stuff. You just want to you just want to decompress. And you know what the worst thing for me is? You live for the weekend, or you live for the evening, instead of just actually making it fun and living your best life in your job, which is either, I always say, it's moving up, moving on, and moving out. And if you know that, if you can pick that thing and make it happen, you're going to be happy, and you're not going to live for the weekend. You're going to enjoy showing up every day. But that is the difficult thing to do. And I've never actually put the skip step with the 5 the advancement signals, but I think it's pretty relevant, because you could be avoiding.
It makes sense.
It absolutely makes
for
sense.
that reason. Because here's the thing, right? It's the biggest clarity marker for me is the signal versus noise, right? And I just know that, as somebody that runs my own businesses, has worked for myself for almost 20 years, like a couple of years off. I started in 2008. One of the biggest challenges that I face every single day is signal versus noise, right? What is it essential that I do today? What is a nice to do, right? And it is choosing between things like walking the dog and going to the gym. Now, that's not work related, that is personal, but we're talking about time here. And surprise, surprise, I better walk the dog. I might not get to go to the gym. But the gym's essential. But here's the thing. The dog must be walked, right? Otherwise, your life is a mess in so many ways. And maybe getting some exercise while walking the dog is your gym
Is the
for that
payoff.
day.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, right? Sometimes we have to choose. But it's like, the noise is the gym for me. That's the feel good place. That's the like, hang out, have a chat, steam sauna, get a latte, the whole thing, right? Do a class, like, yeah, feel good about myself. Walking the dog sometimes just feels like the biggest chore in the world, but as dog owners know, got to walk the dog. So signal versus noise is sometimes really similar. It's really difficult to identify the difference, right? We're not trained to know the difference. Like, I might really like doing Substack lives. I don't, but I realize I have to do them. I definitely prefer to write a post or, I don't know, create something in the app. That's my preference. But some days the signal is get on Substack and do a live because people have questions that need to be answered, right? And so showing up is definitely a skip step. Definitely. There are people I know for a fact in their charts right now, they want to be behind the scenes. They never want to show up. They can create amazing things from the darkness hidden away, and it feels good. And getting up and getting on screen and having these conversations just feels all wrong, but that's the signal. And all the production in the background is actually noise. And I can testify to that because, for example, I did a live yesterday, and as a result, my user count went up. Woke up this morning, there were new paid users, there were new free users because I showed up to do a live, and yet I can work on the app in the background for hours and there won't be any new users because I'm not showing up and talking about the amazing benefits of using the app. I'm in the background figuring out some tech stuff. Do you know what I mean? So signal versus noise.
When you speak like that now, I also think of, sometimes, you don't have to be unhappy in your job. You can be really, really happy and you could be really good at it. And that's also noise because you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
stagnating.
So what is the signal is, well, how do I agitate that? Because sometimes you're sitting in the same position for 6 years and you're the go-to person and everybody loves you and everybody thinks you're amazing at your job, but you're not moving. And you think that's a signal, but it's noise. So exactly what you're saying, the thing, sometimes the things have to be done. Like the background stuff has to happen for you. I mean, you need to do it. But yeah, that just made me think that the noise can still be that thing that you're good at, right?
Yeah.
You're known for it, and you're revered for it. But then, what's the signal? The signal is that you're not going to move.
I think your point around the signal being the thing that doesn't feel good is accurate, and the reason that we have to train ourselves, especially if we're seeking success in something, right? Imagine in a relationship, what is the signal versus noise? The signal is we both need to come to the table and have this conversation. The noise is both burying the issue and moving around each other every day as if everything's fine and no one's bringing it up, right? It can appear that everything's great. That can go on for years, just like, navigating each other, maneuvering, squashing your feelings, repressing the thing. But one day there'll be a transit, I guarantee, and you'll either explode or that whole thing will break everything apart. So, and that's not a threat, that is an actual guarantee or a promise. So the signal is like, we're going to have this hard conversation. We're going to have to really sit and listen to each other. We're going to have to really put our feelings out there. We're going to have to actually address something that is really painful for both of us and run the risk of a big argument and the relationship ending, rather than dancing around and just like, in Tai Chi, they do the ball, like we're around here and it's
the energy.
And it gets bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
That is what we all like to do. Like, oh, now's not a good time. I'll wait. There'll be a better time. there's never a better time.
But it gets bigger and bigger,
right
That's
now.
what you're saying.
Yeah, the energy is like, it grows and it grows. And one day, something happens that we're not able to avoid. So like the signal, and if I just think about anybody that we all recognize as being successful, they use this methodology of, at the beginning of each day, what are the essentials? Like, what are the signals? I've got 6 things that have to be done today. Everything outside of that is noise. I'm not taking calls. I'm not answering emails until I have done X, Y, and Z. And if we all adopt that a little bit, we will start to train ourselves and get a lot clearer on what matters. But it relates to your skip step. It relates to whether you're employed, building a business, helping other people as a coach or solopreneur. It applies in your relationships. It applies across the board. And we just, as human beings, have a tendency to drift towards noise over signal, which is why it's even a thing. And your advancement signals speak to that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and why would people know this? No one's talked about it. No one's teaching it, which is why you had to develop the system. And you were explaining to me earlier that there were like performance reviews and there were this and all these other things, but nobody talks about your advancement. So that's on you, right? To figure out, what does my advancement look like and what are the signals that are going to help me advance, as opposed to the noise that keeps me stuck spinning my wheels.
And taking control of it, because advancement does happen. There's succession planning, but that's when somebody else is telling you what's going to happen to you. When do you start taking control and deciding what's going to happen to you? That's an advancement signal. It's like, when do I decide what I want? Yeah.
And if you don't have the time to do that, if you're not inclined to do that, then you're consumed by noise. And so be it. But don't be surprised in a few months or a few years when you're dissatisfied, you feel like there's no meaning in your life, or you're blindsided by redundancy, job losses. Like, you know, this is something that I always think about. You know, sometimes you'll hear about really tragic events where it's like there was a fire or there was a big accident or a plane fell out of the sky. I always think to myself, did those people get a warning and just ignore it? And I'm convinced that happens to everyone. I'm convinced. Like, I've spoken to people who have been in plane crashes. Thank goodness they've survived. And they were like, on the way to the airport, there were diversions everywhere. And we just kept circling until we found a way to get to the airport. Those diversions were saying, do not get on the plane. Right? But again, signal versus noise, because the noise is saying, get to the airport. But your intuition, which is giving you the signal, is so subtle that you're letting your chatter monkey brain get you to the airport, when there are literal diversions, blockages in the road saying, do not go. And then the plane drops out of the sky.
I see the parallel, not as dramatic, for careers where you say you sit in a performance review year after year or quarter after quarter, and you're told you're good, you're great, you're doing a fantastic job. And you just go to the next performance review and the next, and you just keep getting told how awesome you are, but you're not moving. And that's the signal. That's noise. And instead of going, hang on, I'm sitting here again, like I'm doing the roundabout again, and I'm not catching on. Like, I'm sitting in performance review where I'm awesome and I'm amazing, and don't wait, it will come, because we assume, like for instance, those people, I'm sorry, didn't want to lose the airplane ticket, right? They'd already paid, and now how do you say to the airport, listen, I got a feeling the plane's going to go down, so can I have my ticket back? Nobody wants to do that. And the same with your career. You don't want to go, listen, so I'm sitting in my 5th performance review and I'm still in the same position, instead of going, hang on, there's something going on. What's the signal? Let me take control. Can I take control now? Because you think it's going to happen and it's not happening. So what does that mean? You need to take control.
I've cancelled 3 trips this year and only been refunded for 1, and I could care less, because the signal was very clearly, do not go to X, Y, and Z. Just don't. Like the signals, the word signal is like sign, S-I-G-N.
Yeah.
Right. The signs were there, the writing was on the wall, and it was an invisible ink, but I could still see it. Right. But it's like there's no apparent like redemption, reward, or compensation for cancelling, for leaving, for challenging, for questioning. That always comes after the fact. Exactly. And sometimes you don't even know. You don't even know if you did the right thing or not. You've got to just trust that you followed the signal and that it was the right thing for you, and let it go and move on, but the noise will always distract us, lead us down the wrong path, delay the results that we're looking for, prevent us from getting on the right path, right? And learning to discern between signal and noise is an actual skill that needs to be trained and practiced.
Yeah. And the choice is but then the choice was yours. Even if you cancelled the 3 trips, so even if you spoke up, even if you took control of your career, it's your choice, and that's not nothing. That's something. It's all about you. Yeah,
it's empowering, right? Yeah. It's like I decided not to, and I'm good with that. But I also think that even if we think about like the skip step, when you understand your skip step, that is another way of being empowered and taking control, right? It's like, actually, this is not a part of who I am. Like, I'm not just a terrible baker. I just didn't know that I needed baking powder. Now that I've got it, my cakes just get better and better every single time, right? So it's like I can tweak my recipe, more baking powder, less baking powder, this type of baking powder, that type, whatever it is. But it's like you get to that point where things start to improve. You become more successful. You land better opportunities. You see the growth and expansion because you've now paid attention to this signal. It's like the bat signal, right? So I keep thinking of. It's like beaming down. And the next time the signal comes, you're like, got it. Now I know what to do. I'm going to add this in, or I'm going to make sure I don't avoid the conversation, or I've now got better at having those confrontational moments, or I'm better at asking now because I'm practicing over and over again. So every time that comes up, I'm more and more confident at working with the skip step, the signal.
And things are not happening to you, they're happening through you.
And for you.
Yeah. You are in control. I love that.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to Woolworths and buy a cake, go for it.
But it's not because you're a bad baker. It's because it's a choice. Signal versus noise, time, right? If I buy a cake, I'd prefer to go to Costco, but we're in different countries.
Okay.
But if I buy a cake, guaranteed great cake, and I still get to do other things, signal versus noise, right? It's a choice at that point. Yeah. So I just would be really interested to know what other people think about their skip step. Like, even if you're a free user in the purpose code, you can go to Ask Sheryl and say, what is my skip step? As long as your birth chart's in there, you'll get an answer. Share it with me. Like, there's a little thing that says email Sheryl. It is me. Hi, I get your emails. Don't be afraid to email me. Post it on Substack, message me, do whatever. Share your skip step. I'm really interested to know what people's skip steps are. And then if you are interested in finding out more about work, about promotions, advancement, change of career, and ways in which you might have been consumed by noise and missed your own advancement signals, then you want to go to Monet's Substack, which is Can't remember my name.
Yabda Collective.
Yabda Collective, which is YABDA Collective on Substack. Monet's also very good, and she's on all the social media channels. I'm not as good. I'm getting there, but I'm definitely on Substack most days. So yeah, share your skip step with us. I really want to know what people's skip step is. I think the way that people have like taken the concept and ran with it is fascinating to me. It's something where you might have been in an astrology consultation and they just said, oh, you have a tendency to do this, or maybe doing less of that would help you, right? It's not as commonly known as a term, but it is a real thing. It's a real phenomena. And in my experience, when people have understood their skip step, they have definitely had that big light bulb moment, had some clarity, and been able to like shoot forward on their path and get things done. So, but it's exciting. Skip step, signal versus noise. Is it the same thing for you? I don't know. It feels very similar to me. But yeah, we've got to train ourselves to be more mindful, be more present, and understand what is your signals versus the noise. It's a little bit about your intuition as well, isn't it? Like being able to like tune in. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I think when we don't address it, we're just tuning out. Yeah.
Yeah. And you might want to ask yourself why. Is it a skip step? I don't want to tune into my signals, that I'd rather, I don't know, scroll, talk, hang out.
Not think about it. Yeah.
Just keep going back every day, hoping that things change, even though you're not doing anything different. That's the other thing, like just hoping that somebody buys your thing, hoping that somebody asks you if you want to be promoted, hoping that you get the job because you sent a CV, hoping, right? Living in this hope and a prayer type scenario rather than understanding this is my skip step, this is my signal, this is what I can take control of, and this is what I can do. This is very juicy and exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get out of Hope Land and get into Make It Happen for Me Land.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might want to look at what that means for you. But yeah.
I think it is an exciting time. Yeah.
It is. And for Monet and I, part of what we keep skipping is getting on Substack. So
there we are.
If you've not seen me on Substack for a while, message me, hold me accountable. Say, Shereel, oh my gosh, I'm literally getting a signal in my ear. This is something that happens, like in terms of my psychic stuff. I'll say something and I'll get a duh, and I just got one. It's almost like a ringing, but it's a different kind of sound. So hold me accountable. If you've not seen me on live for a while, if I've not posted on Substack, message me and ask me what's happening. I can't believe I've just asked people to do that because now they're going to do it. But yes, my intention is to show up more, share the app more, let you know all the exciting things that I'm working on, let you know what's working, what's not, and where we're going next, and how the Purpose Code can help you live a life of meaning. That feels like a commercial, doesn't it? But it's true. That's what it's here to do. So yeah, and if you want to find out what your advancement signals are, Monet's created a whole diagnostic tool. It's really powerful, really easy to use. So go to Yabda Collective and get the link and find out what
who will apparently also
are.
be showing up live, talking about signal versus noise. So you're going to hold me accountable to that.
Yeah, we've got to hold Monet accountable as well. We've all got to do better in showing up and talking about what we know and what we're doing, because people want to know. The world wants to know.
Changing lives and making a difference, and that's important.
Yeah, because it's really selfish to learn something and not share it with everybody else, or to make a tool and not share it with everybody else, because are we expecting people to just find us, just get online and start digging? What is it that I don't know? I don't know. No. That's the skip step, right? We have to show up and share with you what we know, and
Mm.
you show up and share with us what you know, right? This is how it works. So
Yeah.
here we are. First step,
Yes.
showing up, talking about skip steps and signal versus noise. It's definitely aligned. Doesn't have to be the same, but it's very much aligned. So yeah,
Yes.
right. Now I'm going to
Thank
go
you
and
so
walk
much.
the dog.
Yes, I can hear my dog same, your dog same. They're both going, let's go.
All right.
Thanks
Thanks
so
so
much.
much,
Thank
Renee. Thanks for
you.
watching, everyone.
Thank
See you soon.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.